What is up, everybody? How you doing today? Welcome back to theHunter Call the Wild. And today I wanted to take a look and see which shotgun is the best gun in the entire game. Which one, is going to be best for if you want to, go hunt some deer with buckshot or something, or duck hunting, an all-around good gun that can accomplish everything that you need it to do. We will not be taking a look at the drilling rifle because it is unique in that it's a shotgun and a rifle combo. And if I tried to put it up against the other shotguns, none of them have a rifle attached. So, it's not really a fair fight, you would say. However, we are going to be taking a look at the 20 gauge, 16 gauge, 12 gauge, and the 10 gauge. Several of these are DLC weapons. I'm also not including the side-by-sides and over-unders because I don't feel that they compete the same with the semi-autos and the pump action shotguns. So with that said, let's go ahead and get in this video. We're going to be breaking each shotgun down with 5 different categories, and we'll go from there. Alright, so the first of 4 weapons that we're going to be taking a look at today is the Norton 20 gauge semi-automatic shotgun. The 5 categories that we're going to be taking a look at is the iron sight, the size of the shotgun, so the gauge of the shotgun, the ammo stats of those shells, the capacity of the shotgun, and the shooting speed. How fast can you fire shots off with these weapons? So that is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be starting off, like I said, here with the 20 gauge. This gun has a pretty decent iron sight. It's that bright red sight. You can really see well with it. It's super nice to use. But, if you don't like that, you can also go on ahead and put on the Meridian scope. Just like that, you can have a nice little shotgun scope. However, like I said, we are going to be more going off of the iron sights, and this one has a very visible iron sight that you can see super duper well. This, like I said, is a 20 gauge shotgun, so it's a little bit smaller than anything else we're going to be looking at today. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the ammo stats. All the bird shots have 0 penetration and 0 expansion, but the buckshot has 4 penetration, 0 expansion, and the slug has 33 penetration and 16 expansion. Recommended classes of 4 to 7. Buckshot is 2 to 4. So really, effectively, you can cover most of the animals in the game, aside from class 8 and 9 animals, with this 20 gauge shotgun. Now, does that mean they're going to go down super fast? Maybe not always, but it's not that big of a deal, as long as you get them down with a vital hit. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the capacity. This gun can only hold 3 shells at a time, which is a lot less than any of the other guns. However, its shooting speed is a whole lot faster. Since it is a semi-automatic shotgun, you can really rapid fire this thing and get as many shells downrange, and maybe even have time to reload and shoot again. It's the great thing about this gun. However, with that super fast shooting, you may get off target a little quicker. However, it's still a very good gun. Alright, and the next shotgun that we're going to be taking a look at is the Kuso model 1897 16 gauge shotgun. This weapon can be acquired with the Rancho del Arroyo map DLC, and there's another variant that can also be unlocked through the missions. This is the iron sight. It's that little bead right there on the end. Not as good as for, say, the 20 gauge. It's a little harder to see, especially in lower light or in the woods. However, it does get the job done. Like I said, this is a 16 gauge shotgun, so still a little bit smaller than for, say, the 12 and 20 gauge, but definitely bigger, 12 and 10 gauge, definitely bigger than the 20 gauge. Here are the ammo stats. Again, birdshot, 0 penetration and expansion. Buckshot, 5 penetration, 0 expansion. You can see a little bit of an uptick right there. And then penetration of 37 and expansion of 16 on the slugs. Very similar to the 20 gauge. Same classes, 2 to 4 for buckshot and 4 to 7 for the slugs. This weapon can hold 5 shells at a time, which is really nice. Definitely means you can sling a lot of lead downrange. However, since it is a pump action shotgun, it is a little bit slower in the firing speed than for, say, the 20 gauge. However, the nice thing is you can get your sight aligned again while the weapon is pumping. You see that little pump there? It gives you time to get back on target, which is key. The 20 gauge does not have that, and therefore it makes it a little bit difficult, and you should be missing a few less shots with this gun if you take your time. The next weapon that we're going to take a look at is the Cashiatory 12 gauge shotgun. One of my personal favorites. I love this weapon. It can hold 6 rounds at a time, which is absolutely amazing. But first off, like I said, we're going to start with the sight. You have a nice little iron sight right there. Very easy to see. It's got a little bit of white on the end right there. You know, it's got the shape there to help you kind of pick out your sight. Really does work good. Easy to see, a little bit easier than for say the 16 gauge, maybe not quite as bright as the 20 gauge, but like I said, still gets the job done. This is a 12 gauge shotgun, so it's going to be much bigger than for say the 20 and 16 gauge shotguns, still smaller than the 10 gauge though. But the ammo stats: 0 penetration, 0 expansion for the birdshot, 5 penetration, 0 expansion for buckshot. However, recommended classes of 2 to 5 instead of 2 to 4. So you can use this buckshot on some slightly bigger animals. And then for the slug, 40 penetration, 19 expansion, up quite a big jump right there, and recommended classes of 4 to 8. So you can use this shotgun on a lot more animals than you can the 20 or 16 gauge, and you know, that's really a nice little perk. As for the capacity, like I said, it was 6 rounds, which really means there's a lot to throw down range. It is a little slower firing because, again, it is a pump action shotgun, so you have that little pause. But that little pause also, like I said, with the 16 gauge, helps you get back on target. The other cool thing about the 12 gauge shotgun is instead of just, you know, being able to use the Meridian sight, which is the, you know, nice shotgun scope here, you can also use the Red Raptor reflex sight. If you don't want to have to worry about a lot of zoom, you have that nice bright glow up reticle, you can use this as well, but it only fits on the Cashiatory shotgun. So, you know, that's just another thing to consider when you're trying to decide which shotgun is the best. Alright, and last but certainly not least, we have the 10 gauge shotgun, the Miller Model 1891. And this is actually a lever action shotgun, not pump action, not semi-automatic, lever action shotgun, which is really neat. Here's the sight on the front. Again, this one is just a BB, kind of like the 16 gauge. This gun has a lot of power behind it. You can hear it just in the sound. It sounds so much bigger than anything else that we've been shooting. Like I said, it is the 10 gauge. It's a lot bigger, a lot heftier, much bigger barrel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ammo stats. 10 gauge brass birdshot, 0 penetration, 0 expansion, just like all the other bird shots. The buckshot, 5 penetration, 0 expansion. Recommended classes of 4 to 7. Okay, that's the same classes as the slugs for the 16 and 20 gauge shotgun. Alright, that's crazy. Recommended classes for the brass slug is 6 to 9 because the penetration is 45 and the expansion is 22. This shotgun is an absolute tank, but its downside, it only has 3 rounds. Okay, you can only send 3 rounds downrange, and it is a lot slower when it comes to, you know, faster follow-up shots. However, I will go on ahead and say this. When you're shooting geese, and you know, sometimes you shoot the goose and he still flies quite a ways before he falls out of the air, that's not going to happen with this gun, especially if you shoot him close. This gun has a lot of range. It can definitely send more pellets further down range than any of the other shotguns. It is an absolute tank, and it will drop some geese out of the sky. This used to be one of my favorite goose guns, and yeah. Now that we've taken a look at all these weapons, let's try and decide which one is the best of all of them. Alright, so if I had to give a 4th place, I'd probably give it to the 20 gauge, just because of its lack of power, and also the fact that this gun only holds 3 rounds. I love the follow-up speed, but it's just not enough. 3rd place, probably would give to the Kuso 16 gauge. This gun is great. I love it. But, you know, it's just not it. The 10 gauge is going to have second place. Not by much, it was almost a number 1, but I am going to give this gun second place just because of how much of a beast this thing is. It's an absolute tank. It can take near about any animal in the game except class 2 to 3 animals because the buckshot is too big for them. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. And then the best shotgun in the entire game, I'm going to give to the Cashiatory 12 gauge shotgun, and for several reasons. First off, the capacity. The 6-round capacity is absolutely amazing. You can just sling some lead downrange, and eventually you'll hit whatever you're shooting at. Sometimes I still have a tendency to miss regardless, so I like having as much lead as possible. Also, you know, this gun is actually a base game weapon. So all the other weapons were DLCs. Okay, the Miller model is from, I believe it was Weapon Pack 3. Either Weapon Pack 3 or Weapon Pack 4, I can't remember exactly. But all these other guns are from Weapon Packs. The Cashiatory is not. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to go buy a DLC to get this shotgun, and it performs so well. Also, since it is a 12 gauge, it has the knockdown of the 10 gauge, but, you know, some of the better aspects of the 20 and the 16 gauge. Okay, it has more rounds with more power. That's really what I care about. So, you know, this is the best all-around shotgun by far. You can take almost any animal in the game except for class 9 animals with this weapon. So that's why I think the Cashiatory 12 gauge is by far the best shotgun in the entire game. Well guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down below. Which shotgun is your favorite? Because, you know, everyone has an opinion, so everyone's going to think a little bit differently. It depends on what you like to hunt with. So, you know, I'd like to hear which shotgun is the best from each of y'all down in the comments below. But with that said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time.